Hey everyone, my name is Baggy and today I will be teaching you how to make your patron appear more coherent and neat. Having a neat and accessible patron is inviting to your fans to want to join and easy to find what they're looking for. Imagine trying to convince someone to pay to go into a messy room where it's hard to find what they paid for. That'd be pretty hard, but people will want to come into the neat and tidy room, so that's exactly what we'll be doing today. I hope these tips are useful for you, and if you have any tips of your own, please drop them in the comments section. Tip number 1. Have a pleasing banner to invite people in. This banner should show off your artistic potential without overwhelming your patrons. A drawing you're proud of will be a perfect fit, and make sure you feel it represents you and your art. I'm veering off in a new direction with my art by adding lighter colours and themes. I will still have my dark horror elements, but I think mixing them with light, happy art will be such an interesting contrast, and I'm really excited to draw more visually appealing art. It's really fun to draw more wholesome stuff after a lifetime of drawing moody horror. I hope you like my patron banner. Her dress was inspired by Christine Daae's dress in Phantom of the Opera. Totally not my favourite movie. Tip number 2. Create collections. By creating collections, you divide the content you're creating into neat little sections that are easy to find. Instead of a pile of stuff, you're creating little drawers for each category. A step even further is to create simplistic art that represents what will be inside that collection. It doesn't specifically have to represent it, but a small indication is good. Make these coherent with similar styles and colour palettes for extra points. Tip number 3. Add emojis. Emojis can make or break a piece of text. Too many emojis looks like a keyboard threw up all over your screen, and not enough emojis makes your text a bit flat and monotone. A really nice balance of them is advisable. I also don't recommend using coloured emojis, since I find them harder to make look aesthetically pleasing, and some users may have outdated phones, so your emoji just looks like a little box. That's even more confusing. I recommend using a website called emojicombos.com. This is a website full of every emoji you will ever need. I just searched star and it comes up with some really cute little constellations and page breakers that other users have made. From what I found, most phones can see these, and since most of them are black and white, they're easy to string together without having a mash of colours. Tip number 4. Reassess your tiers. For starters, make sure you have a low paying tier, so if people really can't pay a lot but still want to support you, they have access to that. If your tiers start at £5, that's still quite a big commitment. That was Netflix back in 2015, and are you offering as much of a service as Netflix? I don't know, maybe you are. That'd be impressive. But if not, that's quite a reach. So make sure you still offer a small service for £1 a month. That can simply be a shout out or a one-time purchase like brushes or overlays. And speaking of, I've released my collection of brushes that I use and a little drawing to demonstrate where I use them. So head over to my Patreon if you'd like those. They are already on Clip Studio Paint, these brushes, but there's also a few that I have found on the Clip Studio Paint website. So you can find all of these yourself, but I've just put them into a really easy, neat little box. So yeah, making headers for each tier is also a really good way to make your patron look professional and well thought out. That'll be my next step in the future. I didn't have time to do them for this video. Tip number 5. Change your text. When you release your images, add variety to your text by making some parts bold and some parts italic. You can even add links by clicking on the link button while highlighting a word, which will make your patron so much easier to use. Don't just upload stuff and then call it a day either. Tell your supporters about what you've just posted so they can feel more connected to you. Remember, they signed up to see you, so they want to know what you're up to and they want to feel closer to you. Give them that. Tip number 6. Add a welcome message. I did not know you could even do these, and I've been on Patreon for 2 years now. After doing some research, I found these. So you can set up messages that will pop up for all new patrons, or you can set it up to show a different message depending on which tier they signed up for. How cool is that? Since I'm not too familiar with it yet, I set mine to send to everyone who signs up, but I will definitely be customizing it in the future. If you want to be super fancy, you could set up a little drawing there too, but it's really not necessary and I don't really notice it. And finally, tip number 7. Look at other people's patrons. Get inspiration from your favorite content creator who are also on Patreon and see what you like about their page. What makes you want to sign up and what makes you think, wow, they are so professional and cool. Maybe even sign up to a few for research. By the way, that's how I found out you could get a welcome message, because I signed up to an artist I like. Play around with it, and if you don't want to do it all now, over time you could just add to it bit by bit, and then one day it will be really useful and accessible and super pretty. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!